In French, there's a proverb, petit à petit l'oiseau fait son nid. Little by little, a bird makes its nest. By advancing in small steps, with patience and perseverance, we reach our goal. Nothing rings truer to us here at Purnon, and there's one question that's been on the forefront of our minds since arriving over 3 years ago. How do we protect what remains of the chateau's 2,000 square metres of precious interiors? How do we protect her original rare 18th century wallpapers, her handcrafted wood panelling, and her custom 18th century paintings? The cold and humid winter months see the temperatures inside the chateau plummet and humidity builds up on the windows and walls, threatening what remains of her original features. The restoration of the leaking roof is now 2 years advanced, and the eastern pavilion is watertight for the first time in the last century. Now the challenge is finding a solution to bring the chateau up to a consistent temperature during the winter months for the preservation of her precious interiors. Whilst the biggest and most urgent challenge here at Purnon is about saving the chateau through the restoration of the chateau roof and facades, we have so many other challenges that we need to address at the same time. And so one of those huge challenges that Tim and I have been discussing and trying to find a solution for the last 3 years since arriving here is how to heat the chateau. And what we have decided on is a huge investment in Purnon's future, our comfort, and the protection and preservation of the interiors. From a sustainability point of view, we will be able to use the wood from the Chateau Domain exactly as Purnon was built to be used in the 18th century, with the wood from the domain providing the heating for the domain. This also allows us to use the wood that has already fallen in the domain. And what this also means is it will allow us to manage the woods of the chateau and plant for future regeneration of the woods. But we have a huge amount of work to do, as always, to actually prepare the space to allow the heating system to be installed. And we're working on that right now because the plan is to have the heating installed before August so that come winter this year, the chateau will have its heating system ready to go.
So this is the first task we have to do to prepare the space here, which is where Purnon's heating system will be installed. And the wood that you can see behind me is called charpente, or it's really the wooden frame that would have held up all of the different slate tile and clay tile roofs that we have around the domain. And these old wooden pieces here are actually quite useful to us. They've lasted for hundreds of years and they've got hundreds of years of life still left in them. So we want to protect them and preserve them, but we've got to move them out of this space. I mean, I moved 50 yesterday.
Have you finished, Dad?
Almost. Just a little bit of sweeping left to do.
I can't believe how much you've done.
It's
How many pieces of charpente did you move?
You know, I actually lost count. There were 15 that required the tractor, at the end, and I reckon there were probably maybe 100 or 120 that had to be moved by hand.
The installation of the new heating system is moving at great pace, and today they are cleaning out the existing radiators. So we have a small number of radiators on the ground floor in the section of the chateau that we live, and this is them getting cleaned out. So the water started absolutely black and they're running new water through it to clean out the systems, and once the water runs clear, then our radiators have been cleaned and ready for the new system. They've done lots of canalisations and all's looking good. Our local stonemasons are truly heroes here. So it's Saturday morning and they have arrived to create some walls for the wood chip to be stored, to create a stockage for the wood chip. And here, just behind me here in this tunnel, is where all the pipes have now gone in to bring the heated water and cooled water and electricity between the chateau and the chaise. So the heating system that we have chosen is a biomass heating system. It will use wood which is chipped from the Chateau domain as the source for the heating system. Today we're scheduled to do a trial run of the system for the wood chip to be put in the storage, and the guys from Hagasna, the supplier of the system, to actually start running the system and test it. It rained last night non-stop. The grounds are absolutely saturated. The truck was not able to get in to get close enough to where the storage for the wood chip has been built, and so we have to empty it here, the only place that the truck could access, and then get a local farmer to come and help us move it this afternoon. It's kind of not the way today was meant to go, unfortunately. Always challenges here. Things never go as planned. Julian. He's been responsible for the installation of the system here, and he's going to explain to us how the system works and the challenges that they had here while installing the system. Donc Julian, dites-moi pourquoi c'était une bonne solution pour le chauffage ici?
Donc une bonne solution par rapport au volume du château qui est quand même assez considérable. Donc on est parti sur une chaudière à copeaux de bois avec un système de décileur avec un chargement automatique. Par rapport au volume, c'est ce qui va être le plus rentable sur les années à venir. Et en longévité de matériel, c'est ce qui va être le plus efficace. Voilà.
Et vous avez eu les défis pendant l'installation?
Alors oui.
Les grands tuyaux d'ici au château?
Oui, donc le gros défi sur ce chantier, c'est que le château se trouve à peu près à 120 mètres de la chaufferie. Et donc il a fallu passer tout un réseau enterré. On est passé donc dans toute une partie de tunnel et dans les douves du château avant de rentrer dans la cave du château pour pouvoir faire une sous-station. Et donc le passage des canalisations en diamètre 220, isolé bien sûr, a été très compliqué.
Mais maintenant c'est fait.
Maintenant c'est fait.
Et qu'est-ce qui est arrivé aujourd'hui? Parce qu'aujourd'hui c'était...
Aujourd'hui c'est mémorable. Donc aujourd'hui on est là pour faire la mise en service avec l'entreprise Argester. Et manque de bol, le temps n'est pas de la partie. Donc pour la livraison c'est très compliqué. Il va falloir se reprendre en 2 fois, donc décharger à l'entrée du domaine et puis reprendre le tas avec un tracteur pour remplir le silo. Et à partir de là, on va pouvoir mettre en service dans l'après-midi pour voir le fonctionnement. Voilà.
Super, merci beaucoup Julian.
De rien, merci.
Well, it was a bit of a rough start to the day, and especially after a sleepless night with the storms and emptying buckets on the western side of the attic. But our local farmer has now arrived and he's moving all the wood chip from the pile that was created this morning from the delivery, and by individual loads is delivering it to the storage in the shade where the heating system is. It's not the way we wanted to do it, but sometimes here things just really don't go as planned, unfortunately. And you can see how wet the ground is. He's just digging it up, so that's the reason that the truck couldn't get in this morning. But we're getting there, and the Hargasner guys have actually turned the heating system on now, and I smell warmth, which is an amazing thing. So this year, come winter, half the chateau will be watertight and half the chateau will also be heated, and its beautiful and precious interior is protected. And over time, as the restoration continues, room by room, we'll be able to add heating. But we've really now got to turn our attention to the Journée du Patrimoine, which is in 4 days' time. And we've got so much left to do to prepare the grounds for when we open to the public. This is a weekend each year that we open to the public, and so there's a lot to do. I've been getting a lot of questions recently about how frequently we post. Here on YouTube we post as much as possible, but we're creating all the content ourselves, so it takes time. On Instagram we post a daily story with an update on the restoration of the chateau. So if you really want to follow what's happening on a day-to-day basis, over on Instagram is a great place to do it. Otherwise, if you'd like a weekly video, we do a weekly video exclusive on Patreon, so you can check that out over there. And if you are not sure about committing to it, there's also, each video also has a preview, so you can actually go in and preview the content and see if it interests you. Thank you all for your support. We'll see you after the Journée du Patrimoine.